Oh, I apologize. Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. I didn't pick up on the call sign there, everyone. I apologize for the dead air. It's our regular council meeting tonight, also Committee of Adjustment. And as usual, we'll start with Committee of Adjustment. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Okay. Member Klopp.
Present.
Member Becker.
Present.
Member Bailey.
Present.
Member Groot.
Present.
Member Harris.
Present.
We have regrets from Member Hessel, Member Lamport,
Present.
Member Walden,
Present.
and Member Whetstone.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Approval of agenda as printed. Deputy Mayor, Councillor or Member Bailey, all those in favor, any opposed, motion carries. Disclosure of procuring interest for this meeting. Seeing none. Adoption of the minutes, 4.1 Committee of Adjustment from June 2nd, 2025. Member Harris, Member Walden, all those in favor, any opposed, motion carries. Committee of Adjustment number 5.1 MV 03-2025 74231 Homestead Heights Drive. And I will turn it over to Sarah, our planner, and she will start the process.
All right, thank you, through your worship. I'll just share my screen. There we go. Are we? Just want to make sure it comes through here. There we are. All right. Thank you, through your worship. As noted, this application is for minor variance 03-2025. Lands are located at 74231 Homestead Heights in the municipality of Bluewater. Owner and applicant is Brent and Roseanne Lavier. And apologies, sorry, owner applicant is MR Engineering and Design as the applicant. The purpose and effect of this application is for an attached garage or a main building setback at a reduced setback, and also for relief for existing accessory structures in a front yard. Specific variances requested are to vary section 17.4, which would permit a main building rear yard setback of 5.6 meters when 7.5 meters is required, and to vary section 3.2.4 to permit accessory structures to be located in the front yard. 2020 aerial images of the subject property shown there in orange outline. The official plan designation is Lakeshore Residential and Natural Environment, and the lands are zoned LR1, NE2, and NE3, or Lakeshore Residential 1 and Natural Environment Zone 2 and Zone 3 in the Bluewater zoning bylaw. And the two images there on the right just show the approximate location of the proposed garage addition. This site sketch was provided by the applicant to support their proposal. It shows the existing buildings and structures on the property, and then the proposed garage addition off the east portion of the subject lands, fronting onto Homestead Heights Drive. And then the image in the bottom right just shows a proposed elevation of the attached garage. Comments were received on the application when circulated. Municipality of Bluewater staff noted no objections, provided permits were sought, and all setbacks are met to the septic system. Asabla Bayfield Conservation is circulated on an application in this regard, adjacent to the lakefront, and also as the lands are fully regulated. They note no natural hazard concerns with the proposed garage addition. They do note concern with the request to maintain the gazebo due to the construction without a permit and the location in the Lakeshore Area 1, and as well in the provincial technical guideline, this area is noted as an erosion hazard zone or an unstable bank. ABCA does consider the structure unauthorized, and given the hazardous location, do recommend the removal of the structure. Bell Canada noted no concerns. From neighbors, we did receive one neighbor calling in just more to inquire about the details specific to the variance, and there were no formal comments follow-up or provided since then. And then one member of the public did call with some concerns about overall cumulative impact of the development on the subject lands, and they were noting a request for a lot grading and drainage plan. Minor variances under the Planning Act shall meet 4 tests: that they are minor, desirable for the appropriate development, and maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and the official plan. In review of the first variance for the proposed garage addition at 5.6 meters when 7.5 meters is required, the Lakeshore Residential designation and the zoning bylaw do permit dwellings. Garages are a common element for residential dwellings. The attached garage would allow for internal connection to the basement. The applicant has noted they currently cannot maintain access to the basement. They have to go outside of the dwelling, and it's a rear or like an exterior access, and would also improve function as well as storage on the subject lands. There's a similar setback of another garage, a couple parcels north of this, and the applicant is also agreeable to provide a vegetated buffer to the north yard just to help with some visual as you come in off of Homestead Heights. And the increased building mass on the parcel, there are some concerns from planning for the overall cumulative impact of the built massing on the parcel. And it is recommended that a lot grading and drainage plan be included as a recommended condition. In regard to the variance to permit the existing accessory structures, it is understood accessory structures are intended for personal amenity space, and they are recognized. It's preferred by the applicant that they would be located west of the dwelling as opposed to on the road just for privacy and amenity space on the property. As noted, ABCA was circulated. The existing gazebo is located in the Lakeshore Area 1 along the unstable slope and is subject to ABCA regulations. ABC did recommend a removal of this structure. The gazebo is unable to meet the 4 tests of a variance, so it is recommended a condition to remove the gazebo. In regards to the uncovered sunshade, it is less impactful on the site. It has been detached from the dwelling and it could be moved, so that is deemed supportable. Just in review of the overall request for the above reasons, the request for the garage addition, subject to the condition for a lot grading and drainage plan, is considered to meet the 4 tests of a variance. And the location request for the gazebo and relief for the structure in the front yard does not meet the 4 tests, so it's recommended a condition the structure be removed. And the existing uncovered sunshade is considered appropriate at the current location. It is recommended application MV03 be approved, subject to noted conditions. The proposed garage within the general footprint and location, applicant contain necessary permits and prove that the septic system is maintained with necessary setbacks, provide a vegetated buffer, submit a lot grading and drainage plan, confirm maximum zone coverage overall for buildings and structures that would be maintained, the gazebo be removed, and a standard variance that the decision is valid for a period of 18 months. And I'd be happy to answer any questions committee has tonight.
Okay, is there any questions at this time? Member Harris and then Member Laporte.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question actually is just to Sarah. This question has no effect on my decision tonight. Is this the first time that we've had comments from Bell Canada?
Through your worship, formal comments, yes, they are a standard agency we circulate to. We do not often receive comments.
Okay, Councillor Member Lamport.
Yeah, thank you. Mine similar. It's more curiosity question. Can you just explain a little more the connection between requesting the gazebo be moved and how it connects to the variance, like our bylaw or something? Is it how's that? How do we put that together? I see it as an entity of Conservation Authority, and how do you connect it to Blue Water?
Yeah, so through your worship, under the zoning bylaw, general provisions, accessory structures are not permitted in the front yard. So the lake bank side on properties that abut the lake, the frontage is considered the lake side. So the structure in that location is in contravention to the zoning bylaw. So they're seeking relief to permit an accessory structure in the front yard. Because the lands are regulated, we circulate to ABCA to say, should a structure be in the front yard? Should a structure be along the lake bank side? Should a structure be in the regulated area, in their hazard lands? So their comments are taken into consideration, and that's helping to formulate the recommendation to remove that structure because it's not appropriate in that location.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions? And we can always go back to Sarah again as a planner. All right, at this time, it is a public meeting. Is there anyone wishing to speak against or has concerns with this application?
I have no one registered to provide comment, but I do know the owners are here.
Thank you. And now we will, so it'll be noted that there was no one had concerns. The owners are here. We'll go to them now and introduce yourselves. You're on Zoom, I believe. And who's going to speak to this proposal and raise your issues? Thank you. You're on mute, sorry. Sorry, you're still on mute.
Okay,
Hello.
hi.
Yeah.
Okay,
You-
my name is Brett Lavier and this is my wife Roseanne. Thank you for allowing us to join via Zoom. We live in Perry Sound, and we hope to be joining the area in the next few months. Um, I guess we found this whole process pretty confusing. Because we hired M&R Engineering to make sure we were doing everything correctly. Thank you, Sarah, for the assistance she gave us over the many months that we were dealing with this. We didn't realize we were offside with the gazebo. That was done almost 15 years ago. And so it's been sitting there for 15 years and we never thought there was a problem until now. When we applied for the garage, because we needed some storage, for a car and a snowblower and a lawnmower,
And a way to get into.
and a way to get into the garage or into the basement, we didn't realize that we were offside. Okay, so having said that, Sarah directed me to get a hold of AuSable Bayfield, which I did. And we had a conference call we had several site visits, and then we had a conference call. And when we had the conference call, AuSable Bayfield made it very clear that there was no approval given to have that structure built. And again, we were offside, make no bones about it. The builder at that time built it. We thought it was all within regulations. It clearly wasn't. When AuSable Bayfield, it was Mr. Bicknell that was on that call. He said he would note on the plan that this was an unauthorized building. Okay, because he said they would not have given authorization to have that, to given us permission to build it. And I said, fine, how do we make, he said, but I am not requesting that you take it down at this time. He said, I am suggesting, he said that we put it onto he said he was putting it onto the plan. So in the event that we sold the cottage, it would have to be made public to the incoming buyer. And I said, fine, okay, we were good with that. Then I talked to Sarah and I said, okay, now if I need to pay for a building permit and I understand that the township would not give a building permit if AuSable Bayfield would not give authorization. And I understood that. So my comment was, can we grandfather, I mean, this thing's been there for 15 years. It's tastefully done. It's got shrubs around it.
It's in very good condition.
It's in excellent condition. It just seems silly to me. It doesn't make any sense at all to take this down because we asked for a minor variance for a garage. I get it. I get it that the builder 15 years ago should have applied for all of the due diligence that should have been done, and it wasn't done. I regret that. But I can't change what happened then. All I can do is address what happened now. We built that gazebo, or had it built, because 8 doors down on the lakeside, the gentleman has one in the very same location. Does that mean that he has to take his down as well? I'm confused with the process, because it just doesn't make sense. However, I understand there's rules and there's regulations, and I don't fault Sarah or anybody for saying this is offside. I would like to find a way to work around this. That's all.
Okay, I'm gonna have anything, you dwelt on that issue. Is there any of the other recommendations that you have an issue with? There's that is a recommendation to be removed, okay, at this point.
Right.
There's 6 others. Are you satisfied with those with regards to your garage and septic and all that? And
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
okay, all right. Now we've got that hopefully cleaned up there. The other 7 isn't an issue. I will now turn to council and they will see where they're at with regards to your application. Is there anyone wishing to speak at this time? Member Lamport?
Sure. It obviously generated my question and the applicant is bringing up the same issue of 0.6. So, and I guess I'm in a question back to Sarah again. So I heard your answer and I just need it clarified again. If council says, if I were to suggest that everything be done excluding 0.6, are you saying we're going against our own bylaw? Or help me out here.
So through your worship, the applicant is asking to seek relief from the bylaw. It would be my recommendation based on ABCA's comments that that structure be removed. But if council or committee of adjustment wishes to grant them the variance, you have that right to do so, giving them relief from that provision that prohibits accessory structures in the front yard.
I got you. Thank you. That clarifies it.
Okay, any further, I have a comment, but I'll wait till I'm,
So I'm a little bit confused, and maybe I misheard it. When I heard from the applicant, when he said he talked to Asabo was going to include the gazebo into the plan going forward. And now I'm just hearing that based on Asabo's input, we're recommending it to be removed. Is that correct? Is it 2 different things, or am I mistaken?
So
maybe,
Go ahead, Sarah.
yes, just through your worship, the applicant has had previous discussions with Asalbo Bayfield. Formal comments we received from them when we circulated this application for agency comments, their letter said they recommend the gazebo be removed.
But Sarah, when we had the conference call, to be fully transparent, you were on that call, as was M&R Engineering. And it was duly noted and very clear that they were going to make note of it on his official plan, but there would be no, and he made this very clear, that there would be no insistence or they would not have us take it down at this time. I don't know where it changed.
okay. I think everybody's right. That isn't the issue here. As Sarah was asked, is this committee have the power to decide if we want to buy the argument? It's been there for 15 years, and I guess I'm saying from my point. So I'll stick to the chair's job. If I've heard it right and understand it, we have the right as this committee to take one of these, add one, and if we take one out, Sarah, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but he said you're entitled to do that, and things will move forward and the world won't end. And I'm paraphrasing. So I think the fact that a comment was made, we've all been at meetings and something is said, but I think then later, probably the ABCA, Sarah pointed out, but there's these things and these things. If you want to do it the right way, a better way that it's more above board and to a credit, go to committee of adjustment, let them make the decision, and then it is really clarified what's going on with the gazebo. So your choice is take it down, or if we leave it, I know where I'm at, 15 years, et cetera, I'm voting that we take it out. I'll be upfront with that. Councillor Whetstone.
And the only reason I ask that is because I do rely on our criteria that we ask. We have a criteria that follows. It said we need to get Asabo's input. We need to get Bell's. We need to get everybody's input into it as well too. So part of my judgment as to where I want to go is based on that at the same time. Plus what we hear from the applicant, 15 years, that type of thing too. That's why I was a little bit surprised when I heard 2 different things. And in all honesty, it would be a slam dunk if ABCA said, yeah, they had no issue with it and it was going to be included. Sounds like something happened between that meeting to when the actual comment came out, I guess, where it came from at the time. So that's the reason for my question.
Yeah, and I appreciate Councillor Harris, Member Harris rather.
Here's how I took it, and I have to ask the question. So what I understood from the owners is in the conversation with the ABCA, basically what they were saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Basically what they were saying was yes, this structure should not have been there. It has no building permit, I'm assuming. And they didn't realize that it was there. ABCA is making note that this structure is now on the property. They are stating that we are not going to say take it down. However, it's in our notes now that it exists and it should not be there. Is that kind of what I'm understanding?
That's 100% correct.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, I think ABCA is covering, not covering is the wrong word. They've clarified and said, we're recommending taking it down. If council says it's gonna stay, everybody will be satisfied. That's what I'm hearing. Which, anyway, Counselor, Member Bailey speaks because she hasn't had a chance yet, so I'll let her go first. If you have a thought or a motion or
Thank you,
emotion.
just a thought. We're discussing the garage, so I'm having a little bit of confusion on why we're looking at the gazebo when it says with proposed garage addition, they had no natural hazard concerns. So here we're talking about the garage. So to me, why are we talking about the gazebo? This is all about the garage. Why would they?
Okay, I'll
You
let
know,
Sarah,
it seems,
explain it
yeah.
if, why that got looped in.
So through your worship, there's two requests before committee, one to allow a reduced setback for the garage and one to allow accessory structures in the front yard. ABCA notes no natural hazard concerns with the proposed garage addition, but they note concern with the maintaining of the gazebo in the front yard. So speaking to the second variance.
Okay,
And just
follow up.
Just to clarify, when this application came in, they're asking about building a garage, and that's what they're looking at and nothing else on the property, right?
So through your worship, when an application comes in, we do a review of the full property.
Okay.
It was determined that there's two accessory structures in the front yard that did not seek proper approvals. So they had to seek them in the variance because they're in contravention to the zoning bylaw, thus the two requests. One for the garage addition, reduction, and one for the accessory structures in the front yard.
Okay, so the gazebo came out of okay, that makes more sense. Thank you very much.
Good to clarify. Counselor Lamport? is
Yeah,
there-
so I understand completely. Sarah can't possibly agree to this. She has to point this out in point 6, which is proper
Yep.
on her part. And, but in talking about this, even if, so the committee of adjustment, if we were to say point 6 gets removed, that does not stop the ability of Sauble Bayfield for coming back and saying that gazebo must be removed. They still have an authority on that property is what I'm assuming, because it's still considered not allowed. Or do we change? I can't see us changing the Sauble Bayfield's position. They still have to have some sort of authority on that after we make a decision.
Through your worship, Asaba Bayfield may require them to seek permits for that structure, and if ABCA does not want to grant permits for that structure, it may be required to be removed.
We may be back here again with discussion. Okay, are you prepared to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Okay,
So I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation excluding item 6. And so it would be 1 through 5 and number 7.
there's been a mover, seconder, Counselor Whetstone, on the motion. Yeah, we've sort of talked about it. So is there any issue? Yes or no, Counselor?
I apologize. I have to satisfy staff. So it's been proven that owners admitted it was built without a permit. If we're gonna leave it there, is there any possible way that we could maybe have the building stamped of some sort? No?
I looked to Sarah there's a process here. Did you understand the question?
Through your worship, they'd have to seek a building permit for the structure, and they'd have to get ABCA approval for the structure.
If
If
ABC.
again, if ABCA
If
receives a permit for it.
Okay, No,
So-
this is a unique situation. Everything's
Yeah.
learning. I'm learning all the time too.
Through your worship and so.
Go ahead.
Was just kind of in discussions with the applicant. They had initially come in for just the garage. It was identified this issue with the structure. I said, you know, you can go forward and go for just the garage. You can go forward and go for this, but you're going to have issues with this structure. Like you need to address that because if ABCA then comes along and says you can't have it, you're kind of back to where you were beginning. So there's just,
The
Yeah.
long way home's the shortest, Sarah, I think is you've, and I think this is the right way and we can then we're giving direction by this motion. And we'll see where ABCA goes or doesn't, you know. Counselor, on the motion?
Yeah.
Concerns or support?
With this motion, are we setting precedent for future? Because there are a lot of structures and other properties out there that have things built without permits. Is this gonna open something for us on other properties across the municipality?
through your worship, anyone has a right to submit an application or seek for any subject lands. We try not to set precedents. We say it's not precedent setting or shouldn't be, but
I'm just thinking about other
I-
things we've had come up, so.
To that question?
Yeah.
We will from time to time and have from time to time in the last 30 years that I've been off and on councils and have been involved. And the councils have made decisions that sometimes says, no, it has to go. And other times they said it stays and then see what happens. There's no real precedent.
Okay.
The point is it was brought up and I think this was the best way to go to do it openly and have council give some direction. And the motion is that we will, due to the arguments made about 15 years, et cetera, and I can support this and see where it goes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Councillor Groot, a question here. I'm not sure if we had a seconder to the motion.
Yes, we did. Sorry, I did. If you didn't catch that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I was gonna say if there hadn't been, I would second it and I would agree with Councillor Lamport's thought process there that we should move forward with that. And if the ABCA chooses that they are not willing to accept it there, they would deal with that fact.
Okay, thank you for your input. Are we ready to call the question? Okay, there's been moved and seconded. I believe this is one we need this is one of that we need to do it by a recorded vote. So I will turn this over to Chandra and she will read the motion so we're clear and then basically it's all the recommendations except 6.
Exactly. So it's the recommendation as it appears on the screen. All of the conditions except for 0.6. Okay, Member Bailey,
Support.
Member Harris,
Support.
Member Whetstone,
Support.
Member Lamport,
Support.
Member Walden,
Support.
Member Becker,
Support.
Member Groot,
Support.
and Member Klopp.
Support. Okay, that motion carried. We now are turning to, do we need okay, I look to Sarah for our second motion. Thank you.
There we go. Sorry. The proposed, recommending 4A, public comments were received on the issues of drainage. The comments were addressed through conditions on the application. And 4B, comments were received from agencies on issues of drainage and compounding of hard surfacing, as well as issue with gazebo location and front yard. The comments were addressed through conditions.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, and who seconds that? Member Lamport, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. I believe that is our only issue this evening. Thank you, Sarah, to the applicants. Thank you for your time and your working on this. And we look forward to you moving closer to Blue Water. Thank you.
So
Thank
do
you
we,
very
so do we.
much.
Okay. At this time, I need a motion for adjourn our committee of adjustment. Member Walden and Member Bailey, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move into I'll call the meeting to order for our regular council meeting, January the 12th, the first for 2026. And I will turn to the clerk for the roll call.
Roll call reflects the previous meeting. There's been no change.
Okay, thank you. Disclosure of precarious interest for this meeting, if any. Seeing none. Approval of agenda as printed. Counselor Lamport, seconded by Counselor Walden. Nobody would like to add anything. I want to be clear. Okay, all those in favor of agenda as printed, any opposed, motion carries. We're now moving to consent agenda 4.1 through to 4.10. Is there anything somebody wishes to bring up? Counselor Whitstone.
4.5 and 4.10, I'd like to pull for comment.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, I'm going to look to, you can go ahead, sir.
Now, so 4.5 is the strategic priorities chart as of December 31st. I know there is some, well, we can all see that there's still some Q4 or 2025 dates on there for various reasons. Don't get me wrong. There are some management staff changes, those type of things as well too. I'm wondering if we could get an update on some of these for our next meeting as to what the new date will be where we can. Some of them are still outstanding. For example, where'd that one go? Well, for goal number 4, you know, that one is still dependent on a few things for sure, but on other ones there, I think we could get an update as to what the new target date is for these because they are now past due.
We need a direction. Okay, we need a motion. You're going to making that a motion. It has to be a motion.
Yeah, sorry. So
Oh,
direction,
that's fine.
direction that we do get an updated strategic priorities chart for next meeting, please.
And Counselor Harris seconded. For discussion, any discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call the motion for direction here. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And your second one, sir.
And the second one is 4.10, which is an interesting one, which is from the municipality of Huron Shores for rent protection for tenants. With the amount of challenge that we have regarding affordable housing, and I do know some of the I want to say what they're actually, some of the legislation that's out there now makes it difficult for both sides. But I do believe there needs to be some sort of security around that a tenant can feel satisfied that he's not going to, rent's not going to be extremely, for year over year, go up and up, where it's getting harder for people to, you can't even afford a house, let alone an apartment anymore. So I'm looking for that we support this resolution.
Making a motion. Is there a seconder? Counselor Bailey. Discussion on the motion. I think it's pretty straightforward, but is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. And that'll be sent to the all the right people. Okay. We're at 5. Oh, I need, right. For the rest of I need a motion to accept the rest for information. All, Counselor Walden seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now moving to our second part of this as we go, correspondence for action. 5.1, proposed changes to waste collection and cottages. I will look to the counselor in that ward for opening remarks and comments and may give some direction here, see where it goes. Counselor Lamport.
Thank you through you, Mr. Mayor. I have had, I will propose that we just make recommendation for this for information to come forward. I have been in contact with the president of the association that is being talked about here on Drysdale Beach Road Association. And several options have been discussed with him, Mr. Garrison. Mr. Garrison is he was very easy to talk to, and was left with the understanding he may well be coming back with some viable solutions for their association come spring. They're pretty well not there right now. It's very much a seasonal location, so the fact that there's no garbage pickup at this time is not an immediate concern. So I'm quite happy with waiting for Mr. Garrison's response. He's working with all his neighbors to figure out if there is a possible solution.
Seconder for that motion, Counselor Bailey. Is there any questions to the counselor at this time? Seeing none, then we have a motion here. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes care of 5.1, link 1 and link 2. We're in management reports, planning, Blue Water official plan review. Sarah, welcome back.
Worship, I'm just going to share my screen here. Here we go. All right, thank you. Through your worship, just wanting to provide a brief update to council regarding the Blue Water official plan review and kind of a summary or what we heard report from the open houses that we held, the week-long session that we held in November. So just in regards to the timeline, we had our initial kickoff meeting or our Section 26 meeting back in June, preparation of the background reports. We had some consultation with agencies and public, and we did present a draft official plan. We're currently in the public outreach process. We did hold our public open houses. And then next steps would be a public meeting, which is part of the request before council tonight, and then approval at the local and the county level. Some remaining project milestones would be the second draft finalized and publicly released. We're currently working on that in anticipation of the public open house. Staff plan to have a second draft prepared and released for February. And requesting a statutory public meeting, we're targeting March 2026. And then adoption of the official plan by Blue Water Council. The goal is April 2026. And then approval of the official plan by Huron County, the goal being May 2026. The public open houses, we did hold those from November 24th to the 29th, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 5 at Zurich Library, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 7 at the Zurich Library, and Saturday from 9 to 3 at the Hensel Library. We had 50 attendees in total. I will note 20 of those were at the Hensel location, and then the rest spread out throughout Zurich. In regards to notification, we did post the newspaper and agency notice. We did include in the Blue Water tax insert, the community e-newsletter. Throughout the municipal website, we had a banner come up when people logged into the website. We did also send postcards out. We sent those to 5,293 individuals. That was to residential dwellings, rural routes, businesses, PO boxes, and households that don't accept flyers. We were able to get in through their Red Dot program. So I think that's pretty successful. That's a good amount, getting the word out there for public. They were also distributed throughout the community. We tried to put them in locations in main municipalities, public centers, and notice on public information boards throughout the community. Throughout the duration and advertising for the open houses, we did do posts on social media for Facebook and Instagram. Our first post had 2,000 views, and then we had another post on November 4th, which got 3,596 views. Weekly posts up to the open houses averaged about 400 views. We did post when the open house was happening, inviting people, saying this is happening, please come out. The second day of the open houses, we had 5,841 views, and then on the fifth day, we had 1,835 views. So this is great. It's showing the postcards worked that council did. It's showing public media, social media. That all works. A great way to get this out into the community. We also had a project webpage where people could go to see the draft of the official plan and the document, and it had a mapping portal on it. There were 708 views, and that's still counting, of people who are going to view their property, for example, in our online portal. A lot of people could go on and view, see, okay, there's no changes, I have no concerns, and maybe just didn't come out to the open houses. But that's a great way. We found that successful throughout other official plan reviews that we've been doing throughout the county, and it's a great resource tool. So general comments, we had a lot of people just came in, they were carrying their postcard with them, said, I got this in the mail, please tell me about the official plan review. What is an official plan review? What is an official plan? And so we had posters set up and we could walk people through everything. Just a lot of people, most people just were just very curious. There were some comments about protection of agriculture, protect and maintain the current settlement boundaries. People are very protective of the agricultural areas, the existing policies we have in place, and we're really glad to hear that as a part of this review, we were not looking to do a lot of changes or additions to our settlement areas. People kind of were happy with status quo as it is. There were some minor requests for rounding out in our existing settlement areas, and that was included in the report to council, and staff is considering that when we do bring forward the second draft. There was a desire for mixed use with residential on the main level and business retention. These are more tied to the zoning bylaw and applicable uses that would be permitted. So that can come into play when we do an amending zoning update following the official plan review. There were a number of questions about servicing and infrastructure in Bayfield, generally the timeline of it, the wastewater treatment plant, what development could happen. So people are generally just questions on that. A lot of people interested in as of right zoning, realizing additional residential units or ARUs. They're currently permitted. People were excited to hear about that or the opportunities they might have in existing fully serviced settlement areas, and a range that we've really increased what can be done in an R1 or an R2 low and medium density zones. It used to just be a single residential. Now it can go up to like a duplex or a triplex. So people were very happy to hear that. Those are kind of currently existing right now. That's not a result of the official plan. That's something that's permitted as of present. Public participation and the loss of appeal rights. Council will be familiar with that with the changes in the Planning Act. People were a bit concerned because they've lost the appeal rights. We're happy to hear their comments. We understand where they're coming from, and we really just said, please make your comments known if you do get notice on an application, and bring your comments and questions forward to council if there's any planning applications. General comments did come up that don't tie specifically to the official plan, being short-term rentals, other comments regarding parking or infrastructure, pavement standards. So those were shared with the municipal departments as necessary. Then in the planning report before council tonight, there were some site-specific or topic-specific comments requested. Summary chart was included. Staff are reviewing those as we consider and prepare the second draft. Most of the amendments made were a response to the concerns expressed at the public open house. There's not a lot that have come in, so there's not going to be many changes in the second draft. Again, encouraging and recognizing that we need to be in line with the provincial planning statement, the county official plan, and legislation. This update is not an exhaustive or extensive one. There's not a lot of changes with it. It's just making sure that we are meeting the policies that are there before us. And we're also including comments that we have received to date from local agencies, including but not limited to AuSable Bayfield, Huron Perth Health Association, Three Fires, and the Lake Huron Water Steward Company. And then additional edits that are identified for staff or clarity that have come up when we've been going through the draft or discussing with individuals. So as regarding next steps, recommend to council to receive this report for information, to direct staff to schedule the statutory public meeting, and we're hoping to do that in March 2026, and then direct staff to continue and finalize the second draft of the official plan and post it online prior to the advertised public meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions council might have.
Okay, council, is there any questions with regarding to some of the details here, or if you have thoughts that you want Sarah to look at as part of discussion going forward to the next meetings? Anything? Okay, I have a couple, I guess. I have three as I read the paper. On page 5 of 10, comments on land owners whose lands are subject to settlement area boundary expansion, and the way it looks, the only area that we're it's St. Joseph and it's Lakewood Gardens. Who initiated that we expand that into the settlement area?
Through your worship, that was staff, that was the planning department to include that in. It's an existing highway commercial use. It's not currently in the settlement area. It's just proposed to round that out to add that and recognize and include it in the settlement area.
And what is, like, now that there was a time when it was Zurich was its own ward and Hensel and that, the issues of bringing in kind of businesses that were out in the country. Of course, there was an issue of assessment that mainly drove a lot of people arguing on all sides. But now that Blue Water is all one anyway, assessment is assessment. To use the argument, I know that they said here they talked to the people, but what is the ramifications? We talk about we want to have farmers and farmland. Well, if we're gonna, in order to have farmers and farmland, we need not to, put more stress on them. Is my understanding that when it becomes a settlement area, then that then changes MDS as far as farmers are concerned when they want to use the land? Because right now that's out in the country, and MDS would be 1.5 times or whatever. what's the downsides of making that change as far as agriculture is concerned on the land that's right beside it?
So through your worship, that area currently at St. Joseph is driving a double distance for MDS. Enlarging that little portion there should not significantly change that, but it may just round up to the north slightly. It would expand that double distance area.
So what is the plus for the owners of Lakewood? Is if it gets transferred into the settlement area?
Through your worship is to recognize that that commercial use is part of the settlement area. It's not changing their zoning on the property. It's just more aligning properly the designation with what is operating on the property. It's not really an agricultural use, so including it in the settlement area is more fitting with the use on the property.
Would they, once it goes to settlement area, they'll say they decide to sell it and make houses. Would it be a lot easier if it's in the settlement area versus outside?
Through your worship, they'd have to go through a zone application for that, and that would be reviewed and evaluated at the time.
Okay. On my other thought here, there was a question, Ted Sudan, he's had a property and he's asked I think he asked last time there was a review, and the comment here is, as noted previously, this site has limitations, including ABCA, muck soils, which it's been there forever. So you don't need to answer now, but I'd like to know, because I'm sure Ted's going to ask me, when was that information given to him? Just like clarification on that. General comments from the village of Zurich. Consideration of northwest and southwest areas of Zurich be brought into the settlement area. That's a pretty broad area. So I just, for council, if we could see what the map is of those, and also again, is it, when it says general comments, is it owners of those properties that have been asking? Those are a couple things that you could send on to council or at your next meetings. I'd like clarification on that. Councillor Bailey?
Just to note, the general comments for Zurich are ones that I brought forward to Sarah that were brought to me by residents in Zurich.
And that's including the northwest and southwest?
Yes.
I'd like to see a map of that, because I just make sure that I'm assuming the landowners, would you know if the landowners that are, those properties are being considered? No?
So through your worship, as part of consideration to bring areas into a settlement area, we try to contact the applicant. So we'll be doing that as part of the second draft. When we do a revised draft, there would be identified the map of areas that may be proposed to be added into the settlement area. So council will have that information when we bring that forward.
Thank you. That's good to know. On two personal things that one came up at planning at the county. As you know, we had a severance and we passed it here, went up to county. There's been a number of severances, and to step back, pretty well everybody in the county has used the policy of, if it's surplus to the farmer buying the property, the house can be severed, the farmhouse. But there's been a number of them. We've had, I can think of 3 or 4 over the last 15 years that we have said a severance is a severance, whatever arguments there were, and it deviated from that. South Huron had one just literally before Christmas. We had one mirror it this week. One of my fellow councilors up there, because this process goes up to, as you know, to the county for discussion. And he made a very good point. We're passing this, maybe it's time we review. And if this is something that we're going to do and add, instead of just surplus because of farmer, we add a line that the family or the owner can sever the house before he or she sells the farm. So I jumped up on that note and said, well, we're doing 5-year review. So I'm putting that out for Sarah and her staff at this time, if they can comment on that, and we will see where that goes or doesn't go. And the second one is, and this particularly came up because of a zoning issue that happened in Hensel, and as far as I'm concerned, wasted a lot of staff time and politicians' times. And that is S9 15.6, and it's the hiring a preferred planner is recommended but not required. That not Sarah, but the previous planner we had, when I said, where's that from? And he said, well, that was done in the 5-year review that happened. And so it's pretty clear. It says it's not mandatory, but as some of you will remember, we ended up having the planner came to this council and said he wants it done. Council unanimously said no. We bought the argument of the person buying the property that he, and it was a he, could come to council and explain himself why he wanted it zoned, or the public. He didn't need to hire someone. So I said, this is a time to get this maybe on the record. So I'd like staff to make a comment on that one and see where it goes. It was added. Maybe it doesn't need to be there. People still can. You can hire anybody you want. Nobody's stopping you. But that one has caused a bit of problem. So I'm bringing it up now as a note and look for comments from the planning department as we move forward on that one. So thank you for your time. Okay, is there anything else anybody wants to bring in? And Sarah has made it very clear she's open at any time to call her with a thought, or if a neighbor has another question, because it's an ongoing process till we get to the final day when it comes to this council to be passed and move forward. So at this time, there's no more comments. I will ask that we receive this for information and acknowledging that she's going to move on with the plan that she's put forward that she set out on this agenda. Councillor Walden, seconded. Councillor Bailey. We're clear on the motion, information and process. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. And we look forward to more reports. We're moving to Public Works. Hunting restrictions on six development agreement, Old River Road. I will defer. Aaron, do you want to open up comments?
I can, Mr. Mayor.
Well,
Good evening, council. This report is coming forward in response to the owners, the Fishers, of their development on Old River Road in Bayfield, and requesting that certain clauses be removed from their development agreement with the municipality. The staff report speaks to these clauses and the impact of removing them. Staff are not recommending the removal of any clauses, but if council is looking to amend the agreement, we request that these changes be made by resolution to amend the agreement, and then the agreement will be brought back to a meeting at a future meeting.
You have very detailed reports, so thank you for those opening remarks to help set some ground rules. Is councillors, what zone it is in your backyard? Or I'm looking maybe for you to give some thoughts and direction. We'll move forward here.
Sure. So thanks again, Aaron, for a lot of the detail in here. And I know we've been going back and forth on this for quite some time to try to get to some sort of resolution. So I appreciate that. So, after some consideration and looking at these type of things, the one item that's in there, and I believe it is the lighting one, which would be the clause 6, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? 15H, sorry. Yeah, sorry, 15H. So I'm suggesting that that get removed. Should they decide they want streetlights on there, that'll be like anything else, that'll be borne through the cost of the ward itself, which is the way that our lights are now. They're self-funded. So that would be one that I'm looking. Do we need to do these separately?
Sorry, through your worship, if you had any other changes, we can put all the amendments in one resolution.
Okay, so that would be one that I'll be looking to as part of the resolution. And the other ones, I agree. I know the infiltration was a hot topic, but at the end of the day, there's got to be some sort of infiltration. There's got to be something along that lines that says that, that there's some responsibility that has to be held by the developer on this. Now, the only thing that I'm going to suggest is that that stays in, but we remove the cost associate it and we give back the money that's been that we being held for that particular one, but that stays in. So really no change on that. It's just giving back the securities for that. So it's just the two that I'm proposing that we look at changing.
With regard, okay, is there a seconder for that motion? Okay, Councillor Walden. Now, on the motion, any discussion? Many of us have been talking about this. Mr. Fisher has been talking, Aaron's been talking, Councillor Lamport.
Sure, just to clarify through you to Aaron, so in the motion that's put forward, if there's a development on there's 2 vacant lots. If there's a development on the 2 vacant lots 20 years from now, his ownership has changed or whatever, the new lot owner would be responsible for doing the filtration system, or is it still the responsibility of the existing lot owner now? Like what happens 20 years from now is what I'm asking.
Responsibility of the developer, not the lot owner.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. So the agreements are registered on title for all 5 lots there. So it ultimately would be the owner's responsibility to make sure that agreement is upheld.
Oh, so the responsibility could be transferred through purchase, but it's still there. It's never gonna not be done.
Correct. The agreement does have wording towards that the owners of the lots are responsible as well as the developer.
Thank you.
Well, Councillor.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to make sure that stayed in to the agreement, because someone has to be responsible. We'll be responsible from our side when we go and we look and do building permits to make sure that everything that's on title is actually being done. So it's important, if there's nothing on title because there's no agreement, they can basically do anything. So this way it's the agreement has to stay there in order for this to happen. So yes, Mr. Fisher could still be responsible 20 years from now if something should be there. So, and that's part of being a developer. There's some long-term ramifications.
Okay, now there is other clauses and you didn't speak to them, but you, by this motion will say, like clause 4, staff have agreed they're gonna give the money back, but it's gonna stay in there. Basically the clause about the 15G basically says the same thing. We recommend it stays in. There was just this thing about a holdback and your motion says we won't make them hold $5,000. We'll see what happens down the road.
Yeah, I'm not talking about any of the other ones because I'm in agreement with what's on there.
Okay, but I just,
So-
for this motion, because I think the whole intent too is we want to send a direction that this is done and they can get on with cleaning this up, right?
Yeah, maybe
So
has
Chandra
better
might have,
terminology for 'em.
she may add more than what you've added.
So it will be that clause 15H requiring the installation of street lighting to match the previous developed portion of Old River Road be removed. And that the security amount of $5,000 per infiltration gallery be returned, but that clause 15G remain.
Resolution. I thought you were looking to have all securities.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There, all the other ones you've agreed that the security is coming, so we need to have it totally wrapped up. Maybe that's 2 separate motions. I'm looking for direction.
Oh, yeah, I think because I think you were talking removing all the securities for the agreement, which I don't have the number right in front of me, but is upwards of 90,000, right? So I think, is that the security amount you're looking to reduce, or are you looking to reduce just the 10,000 for the 2 lots of infiltration galleries?
So if I may, let's take the 2 lots that are 10,000. Those were the ones that I was saying that give the securities back, because all the other ones we're actually agreeing to in there based on your recommendation that those securities should be given back as well too.
Clause 4, so I think we need to.
So all securities should be given back, but is basically, and I think that's what I think Aaron and myself are in agreement. We just got to get it into the words.
So I think we just need to reword that, Chandra, to say that securities, the entire amount of securities for the agreement to be returned. Yeah. And it is, just to confirm, it is $94,000. Lindsay just updated me here.
But all the things that are on title will stay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's, that's what we want clarified. And so she's just wordsmithing this.
So through your worship,
Okay, your
it'll be
colleagues.
that clause 15H requiring the installation of street lighting to match the previously developed portion of Old River Road be removed and that the entire amount of securities for the agreement be returned. Aaron, that was in the amount of 94,000. And that the amended agreement be brought back to council for consideration.
Okay.
Yes, there will be some legal costs with that. And this is where council, if you wish, you could direct those costs to be absorbed by budget, or is this a cost that staff should be forwarding on to the developers? We don't know them exactly, but there will be, it won't be a big amount, but there is some legal costs here for lawyers.
Councillor Lamport and then Councillor Whetstone.
It begs the question, who normally pays for it?
Normally the developer does.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, and I'm going to make the suggestion that they are borne by the developer. The developer made the decision to sign a contract way back when and is now not happy with the contract that they signed. There is a cost of wanting to change a contract, and that's the cost, is the legal fees.
Okay, but I guess I'm looking at it the same way, but a little different. To me, this is no different than any other development agreement. At the end, they wrap up and there is some paperwork and fees to finish up. So this is really no different. This is a development agreement.
Correct, Mr. Mayor. There is no difference, and generally those costs are very minor and they are absorbed by the developer still.
So just so we're consistent.
Correct.
Okay. Different ways of looking at it, but it is the process.
Sorry, so through your worship, to Councillor Whetstone, in your motion, it would be that as a part of that, one of the amendments would be to specify that the owners be responsible for all legal costs associated with these amendments. Developer, they're defined as an owner in the agreement.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's been amended, but is a seconder, was there a seconder? I thought there was.
Okay.
Councillor, yes. Councillor Walden, yes. Sorry, I knew there was. And you're okay with this as it's been changed here? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more clarification? And it is coming back, so if there is something that we need to tweak, we can tweak. Okay, but the intent was this direction. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We're now moving on to our hunting restrictions. 6.331. Dave, are you here?
I am here, your worship.
Okay, you gave us a report. Is there anything you wish to open up, or do you want us to start talking about it?
I was just going to add and just a little bit of information. So a little bit of perspective here as to why this is being brought up. It was the case that on 3 different instances in fairly short period of time, latter half of 2025, that there had been questions about hunting on municipal lands. And the last one being at the Hensel Lagoons, where there was some hunters there. While there was an Aqua staff member there that had called, kind of raised some concerns, was a little bit concerning from their perspective. So I thought it was prudent to bring something back to council just for council's consideration towards how hunting could be treated on municipal lands.
Thank you. Councillor Harris and then Councillor Lamport.
Thank you, Dave. You almost answered my second question, but I'll ask the first one first, I guess. Who will police this bylaw? Would it be the MNR or would it be our bylaw enforcement?
So it would be ultimately it would be the OPP that we would end up calling for instances like this, because it would at the end of the day become a trespassing issue, where somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to be doing on lands that are ours. It would be an OPP enforcement item.
Thanks, Dave. And I guess my second question was, you did state why this brought up. What kind of liability would we have if somebody was hunting without this bylaw and the injury? Like, would we be responsible for that?
So, and it's an interesting question. I actually did reach out to our insurer to get kind of their perspective on it as well, and wasn't able to get a response back. But ultimately, it is the responsibility of any employer to ensure the safety of staff on their properties. So we ultimately, and again, I can't speak to exactly what would happen, but it is conceivable that we would be held liable or have a portion hold a portion of the liability in a situation where somebody was injured as a result of an incident.
If
Mr. Lamport? Is there something else? I have some comments.
I was just prepared to move the recommendation.
Okay. Are you moving the recommendation?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, well, on the recommendation, you're talking about all these points here that we're gonna now have to watch people if they hunt and then they accidentally cross our closed road allowance at the end of a bush.
No, the recommendation is that council direct staff to prepare a bylaw prohibiting hunting on municipally owned lands.
Yeah, but at the bottom is all these areas that he's gonna do.
It will come back to us and we can discuss if we don't think there is an area, but at the same time, I tend to agree with what Dave's saying and it coincides with what Councillor Harris asked. It's a lot easier for us to protect ourselves by having a bylaw that suggests immediately that they're trespassing. And once they're trespassing, then our liability is reduced significantly. So that's why I would pass such a bylaw.
And okay, so it's gonna be coming back and we'll talk about it then. All right. Okay. And I guess it will be out there for people to comment then. Right. Okay, on the motion. All those in favor, realizing it hasn't passed for the public out there if they're watching. Okay, motion, any opposed? Motion carries. Alrighty, or a report to come back showing these areas. Thank you. Community Gardens location update. This is for information, I believe. No, it's actually, no, sorry, direct manager to work with. Is there a mover? Councillor Whetstone?
Yeah, and I'll make a comment if we get a second.
Seconder, Councillor Bailey. Go ahead.
Two questions, just more for the public. So no fencing is going to be required on this area, Maggie?
Through you, your worship, yes, that's correct.
There's no fencing. And I know this is, there's parking that's kind of like buffers this area, so the parking will still remain for the use of the community center and the agricultural park.
Yes,
Well,
that's
too, so,
correct.
okay. And as you recall, we did at one point in time reach out to ag, and there's no interest in moving back in there, correct? So this is the location that has been determined?
Yes, that's correct. The location that would be available in the agricultural park is not very suitable for a community garden.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Finance. Maggie McBride, council remuneration bylaw. Is there a mover? Deputy Mayor. Seconded. Councillor Lamport. Is there any questions to our treasurer? Straightforward. Okay, is there a motion, a question? Go ahead, sir.
So it's not directly related to this, but at the same time, while we're talking finance, it's related to council. I've noticed our expense form. Am I right to assume Maggie's online?
Yes.
Okay. Maggie, I noticed in our expense forms when we go on conferences, there's nothing there in relation to rental cars or gasoline if you took a rental car, even an airplane. It may sound extreme, but when you look at mileage now, so AMO was in Ottawa and mileage from here was around $800 or $900, and yet someone could fly, depending on the rates, but you could fly for significantly cheaper. So it's just, the question is, I'm just wondering whether our conference form could be updated. I know I'm kind of cheating in here by bringing it up at this time, but it's related to conference and our pay and that. So just wondering if that could be asked, that we could relook at that and consider everything on travel type expenses.
For sure. Yep. We can do, I'm sorry, through your worship, a little update to the form. And just so council's aware, we'll be sending out a updated form shortly. We're still just waiting for CRA hasn't released their 2026 mileage rates yet. So once we have that, usually they do it right at the beginning of the year, but we're still waiting on it. So once we get that rate from CRA, we'll kind of send around an updated form for everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bailey?
And on that comment, can we have a list of available transportation that we can use from the municipality, like Greyhound, Flixbus, Via Rail, just what we can actually book through? Because there's other options than a rental car, like the train was very
Yeah, that's what I was,
Yeah.
that's what I was getting at. It's just
Yeah.
the form should be much more
Yeah.
optional for
I
several.
believe the
type-
county one has that on it.
Yeah, probably. Many do.
Yeah.
Even a plane, like I said, even a plane, like
Yeah.
bus, plane, whatever. Yep, train.
Councillor Whetstone?
So maybe we could talk about when the form comes. But I'm not understanding why we would put in the form of transportation that you're taking. You have a budget. Fit it within your budget. If you want to fly, if you want to walk, if you want to bicycle, if you want to do it, you get so much money per year. You put in the form, this is what my cost was to get there.
Councillor, go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, so all I'm clarifying is that our existing form, if you read it, it's very literal. If you read it literal, it just gives us an option of a train or mileage in a car. That's my point. It could be a
Understood.
rental car, or maybe they just draft up a policy that addresses everything, like you're saying.
Understood.
That's the
Thank you.
purpose.
Thank you.
Just state your mode of transportation. Yeah.
Councillor Bailey?
And as well, being a new counselor, I wasn't aware of the different types of transportation to get there, so it's good to have that out and what can use. Yeah. Yeah, and knowing, I can go to St. Mary's and hop on a train, and I didn't realize that before, right? So, yeah.
Okay. That's why we have these discussions. All right, there's a recommended bylaw to establish the rates. Is there a mover and a seconder? We did that already. Lamport and Deputy Mayor. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now at fire 6.66. I will refer to 661. We'll start with fire protection. I will defer to the chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through your worship, fellow councilors. Just a little background on this. UFM has started a cancer prevention grant that's been a 3-year program. Year 1 was $10 million. Year 2, they actually doubled it to $20 million. I made the application to apply for the balaclavas that we didn't have funding for last year, a second set of gloves, and a trailer. The trailer was in consultation with the station chiefs. We had a meeting in September, and applied to, that we felt was the best for the dollars to be spent instead of buying any more dryers at this time. We can utilize our dryers and our washing machines that we have at our existing halls. And through that, I recommend that we go ahead with the purchase of, or the signing of the TPA.
Okay,
I'll open it up to any questions.
alrighty. Is there questions, councillors? Councillor Lamport?
Sure. Well, I'll start. So if we go back to our September 2nd, I think it was, the presentation, I will admit I was a little bit, the trailer surprised me because the trailer is a vehicle. We did not have a listing of a vehicle in that as a proposal in that report to council. A vehicle becomes part of fleet, and a vehicle also becomes something that is regularly maintained. So it has other additional expenses, which also was not listed in the financial end of what would this cost if we do something like this. So from a counselor's standpoint, and to you, Chief, it is viewed at differently. We have to look at things differently, and this is an expense that is a different expense than just buying gear or whatever. At the same time, we had during the budget time, there was a request for SCBA's, and the SCBA's are a significant expense to taxpayers, which we agreed to. But knowing there's a grant out there available, it would have been, or I'm not saying, I want to, how do I say, suggest that, it'd be a good savings on behalf of the taxpayer to get a grant that would have supported the SCBA's, okay, versus the trailer. And so I'm just more or less putting it out there as I've got a little bit of a concern supporting this. It sounds funny when you get, I don't want to say free money, but it's not, it's still, this one results in, it may be a small expense, maintenance of a trailer, but brakes, everything on a trailer is a continuous expense that councillors have to consider versus just buying a product. So it's more of a comment and information for the other councillors at the table.
Councillor, what's
Through,
Oh, go ahead.
just through your worship to Councillor Lamport's comments taken, there obviously will be a maintenance charge that would be figured into it. Yeah, thank you. And at the time of, I guess I should say, at the time of applying for the grant, there was no budget approval for any SCBA's at the time. So in my knowing that there was some questions on the grant, I did make some inquiries today through my OFM advisor, who basically stated that I can ask the OFM, but they're not really usually willing to change the grant application. But I did get approval today that they would change the OFM grant application if that is council's direction.
So you almost answered my question for me already on that, Dave. So when you mean by that, if we decided tonight, Kate, can we use this money towards the SCBA's? Did they actually say that yes, we can, or they're saying yes, you can change the application and they'll review it? I'm trying to understand what your terminology was there.
Through your worship, they'd have agreed that yes, they would have had. It is still my recommendation on the trailer, to be honest. And but they were going to change the TPA to the SCBA's so I could have for tonight's council meeting. And I recommended that we would wait for council direction before I would recommend they do that.
It's council's decision. Go ahead.
And so just one more question, if I could. So what do we do today? Like, if we don't have this trailer, what are we currently doing today?
Through your worship, we crawl in the back in the truck and take everything back to the hall. And basically anything that's, I mean, it's we do decon, we do decon on site now. We have washing, but they really recommend that bunker get taken off, bagged and taken and be washed.
Yeah, that's different. When I was on, obviously, things have changed quite a bit. That's why I asked the question. So,
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Just a few questions for Dave. What other county departments buying with this grant money? What are they purchasing? Because back in September 2nd, you wrote in your comments it was going to be the balaclavas, gloves, and PPE. There was no, like Councilor Lamport said, there's no indication about a trailer. And I just curious, what are other departments that are applying for this grant money? What are they purchasing?
Through your worship, sorry, I don't remember, have that report in front of me right now, but I didn't think I had actually said what I was applying for. It was, that was the things that were eligible in the grant, but that's here nor there. I believe some are buying what they call a solo washing machine to wash your SCBA's instead of using a scrub brush. I believe some are buying, I believe North Huron was looking at purchasing a trailer. Some are buying second sets of bunker gear. So that answers your question, Deputy Mayor.
That's one of them. This trailer, you're planning on having a washroom in it. So what is the plans for dumping facilities when the tank is being used?
Through your worship, there will be a little bit of infrastructure work that would have to be done to be able to dump into a sewer somewhere at one of our holes.
That can't happen. Well, you can't add from a portable thing. You have to have a dumping station. So we better get this rectified before we even think about it. Trailer. I don't know how.
Or it could be a composting trailer or toilet through your worship.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
if I could ask the chief a question, please, as well in the trailer. It's Councillor Groot. To Chief Herb, I had read through and I know we had some discussion. The trailer is an interesting concept for people to disrobe some of that bad gear and for decon. I guess part of the question when I heard you describe it there a few minutes ago, if people were deconning in the trailer, does a trailer have to go through a regular decon on its own? Because and now you're going to have people regularly attending the inside of this trailer that's been used as a decon chamber.
So through your worship to Councillor Groot, yes, the trailer would will be designed to be completely washed down after use. So it'll be lined in the interior. That'll be washable with a pressure washer and decontamination soap.
Thanks.
Okay. Councillor Lamport, do you have a question or comment?
Yes, through your worship. I was actually prepared to make a motion because I think, council can decide. I'd like to make a motion that we actually abandon the grant for the trailer and proceed with a grant for SCBA's for the year of 2026. But at the same time, I more than welcome the chief to come back to council in fall for the new budget of 2026. And if you can request the grant, but with much more information on the trailer as to exact costs, some other things were brought up as to where you dump, et cetera. That's the reason why I'm not quite there. And I think we need a report on something like that. And so I'd like to make that motion that we switch from the grant, the existing, and go to the SCBA's. Whatever could be written,
Sure.
you understand.
Yeah, so through to your worship, if Chief Herb, could you speak a little bit to the balaclavas and the gloves and just how that works with this funding?
Yes, so I did mention the balaclavas and gloves. Obviously, you can see they are a significant purchase also. I would like to continue with those that are given a second set of gloves and a second balaclava.
I'm specifically referring trailer only. The other items can remain on the grant.
That's the clerk's job. She wants to be
Just
clear.
switch out SCBA's for trailer. That's it. And however the money, but the gloves and I think there was something else, balaclavas?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
also would be
Thank
still
you.
included in the grant process.
Are you seconding that motion for discussion? Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, that's, you were kind of going exactly where I was going. That's why I was second as well too. I do like the idea of the decon trailer. You know, and I think it's for large fires, that kind of thing as well too. Cities, I could see using it just on a regular basis, you know, with multiple fires on a regular day. So I think there is some merit to it. And it's more just the fact on, I know we have a tough year coming up as far from a budget perspective. We talked about, we got to find 9% just to break even with services. So I'm thinking anything we can find from a savings perspective that we can apply a grant to help us out going forward. And that'll be the reason why I'm supporting the motion at this point in time. So.
Counselor?
Motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a question, I guess, to Mr. Kester. Does the municipality of Blue Water have a dumping station anywhere? I know Central Huron has one up by the Reach Center, but do we have one?
Through you, your worship, no, we do not.
Thank you.
Okay, is any other counselors comment on this motion? I think that, okay, then I'll make a comment. I'm going to be supporting the motion. I think everyone's done their job, as was pointed out in the when we asked for more detail, that, and it was brought up now again this evening, things flow. We didn't have the budget yet, so there was 3 or 4 ideas. But now we are definitely going to be spending money on the SPCA's, and it definitely is cancer helps reduce. And with the other things about mechanical, I think this is respecting the right way to go on this, as council has to look at things through a little different lens, but it still gets the intent. You even went further and asked if we can apply, and they didn't say no. They said, we'll entertain it. It sounds pretty positive, but we have to give a direction, which you've asked for. So on this, if there's no further questions, I'm going to call the motion that's been put forward, and we'll see where it goes. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Between you and CBAO, and you'll get fired tomorrow, so it gives them an opportunity, because I think this was supposed to be done by the end of March. So appreciate that. We'll go from there.
Through your worship, the money has to be allocated by the 31st of March, correct?
So we'll send them off tomorrow. I'm sure you've already got the letter, because we want to be fair to them. It's a government organization. I'm glad to see they're willing to be open to some ideas. Okay, we're moving to the second subject, which is about the SCPA's update. Okay, council received the report. Is there any questions this evening on this report? More background information?
I'll just approving the recommendation, or moving the recommendation, I should say.
That's to receive the report as information. Okay, seconded. Councillor Harris. Any other comments at this time so you can take some information back? Okay, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Just a question to the chief. Reading through the report, the variance in price for the packs and the bottles and stuff, it's quite a variance from, I think, $7,500 to $12,000. That's quite a span for a pack. Could you come back with a little closer itemized, what is it, 9,000, 10,000, like just to give where we're spending this money, and if there's any savings down the road, because the way it's stated, I kind of figured 32 packs. You're giving up space for 8 packs somewhere in the department. You had 40. Some of the trucks have space for 4, and a rescue has space for 6. So there's going to be 2 empty spots somewhere in certain trucks, and I don't know how you can address that down the road, but that's your job. But the prices you got here, there's a bit of a variance. Some are pretty close. Some are the mass $650 to $1,300. So that's quite a,
If I may, through your worship.
Yeah.
So those 2 quotes were derived from 2 separate quotes that I have received for SCBA's. That's why the numbers are where they were. So, and that's just quotes I've received.
So,
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
if I could ask Chief Erb a question as well on the tanks. I know, Chief Erb, you make mention of a company that has made notification that they may have a tank that has a longer lifespan. How soon before there have any clarification there, do you feel?
Through your worship to Councillor Groot, actually, I have got clarification. They do have that tank now. It is a 30-year composite tank, same size as any other composite tank. So it would be a significant savings in the future.
If I could follow that up with one question then also, is there a chance we could do a simple calculation for the future here for what the total cost of ownership would be? Inclusive of, say, the 15-year or whatever, their end of life has now become 30-year. Maybe we could take a look at the total cost of ownership of buying those 30-year tanks, if that's the route.
So you'd like to see that at like next meeting kind of thing, moving forward here?
Yes, please.
Okay. It gives them something to work on. All right. Anybody else at this time? I'll go back to the deputy mayor.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no problem going ahead with buying these SCBA's. Safety is the biggest factor, but we need a compressor to fill this new style of SCBA bottles. And if we don't get the compressor, the SCBA's must be secondary. The compressor has to be replaced. And my suggestion is get a quote on a compressor and move the compressor to the Zurich station. So it's central to the other departments in the municipality. I don't know what space we have in Zurich, but I'll leave it to the chief to figure out. The compressor that's in Hansel is end of life. And if we can pull it out of there, maybe we can renovate Hansel area to accommodate where their coats and stuff go without being contaminated. We can work on that down the road. But that's a suggestion to centralize it. That way the bottles got to be filled. They can come to Zurich, get them filled and back to the scene.
Okay, Counselor.
And I'm just trying to recall from budget. I think the Hansel compressor is slated for replacement to accommodate for, and that's been pushed to the 2026 budget. Am I correct? Or 27 budget? Just to give me an idea, once the SCBA's, my apologies, arrive, what kind of what point of 2026, because we're in there now, do the SCBA's show up?
Through you, your worship, we're looking at anywhere from 60 to 90-day delivery from the time of purchase. And if council so wishes that I still do attempt to do a large purchase with other municipalities, one I'm dealing with as possible of a late February budget approval, and the other one is talking April. So I wouldn't be able to tender until after that.
Okay. Counselor and then Counselor Lamport. Counselor Weston.
So just for clarification then, so when we mentioned about the grant and using it towards this, you mentioned it had to be, does it have to be spent or allocated or to do something? Like, do we have to have an invoice already? Do we have to, like, what is the criteria for that? Because if we're talking about waiting until the end, are we going to be in contravention of our grant then?
Through your worship, no, it just needs to be allocated and spent by the end of the year.
Okay, good. Fine now, Counselor Lamport.
Yeah, and just to follow up to Councillor Harris's point, I'm pretty sure in budget discussions, we had discussed a more closer to fall purchase of the SCBA's with the idea that it was rolling into 2027 when the compressor would have been asked for in the 2027 budget instead of rushing things at this time, again, because of looking at a group purchase with other services. But even if we didn't group purchase with other services, it was push the purchase back till about the fall so that everything ran together with the compressor. That's what I recall from our discussions. And then now, at the same time, if for some reason I don't see a concern that we put in for SCBA's on the grant, you get that money and that actually reduces our monies for the SCBA's and therefore we have monies to buy a compressor also is a possibility. But my point is, I do recall council's discussion was it was later in 2026, all these purchases were happening.
And let's still shop with other municipalities.
And through your worship, if I may, the filling station right now, yes, will not fill a 4,500 PSI bottle full, but it will fill it to 38 or 4,000, which is more than what we have now. And that is within standards.
No,
Uh,
I gotta argue that, Mr. Chief. That's a health and safety factor. The bottle's not full and you send somebody into a building with a partial bottle, that's setting up for failure. So we gotta be very careful. When you put a pack on, you want a full bottle. The guys trained to have full bottles. They know what they got when they're going to a building. So we gotta be very careful. And if that compressor can't do it, we gotta get the compressor first.
or at the same, or at least look at it at the same time. So we're actually adding something in fairness to the whole process here. And it's not that it's I'm not against the discussion, but that's not my point. But if we're asking for more information about the compressor, because he'll spend some time on it, but we need direction from council that's to your point. I agree. My background says if the compressor could die, and we know we need it, then we should start looking now to make sure that we're, for getting tanks, we better make sure there's a compressor. It's not we can have a brand new compressor. We bought it last year and it could blow up on Tuesday. We have a truck that we spent, a brand new truck could blow up, but at least we know those that can't, that can happen. So maybe tonight give some direction here that, to the deputy mayor's point, ask him to come back with what's this compressor, a pretty good idea cost, and when it would be a timeline as we move forward to get a new one. I'm just throwing out ideas here. Lamport, to keep moving along.
Sure, through you, Mr. Mayor, but all I'm pointing out is this was discussed at budget time. If the chief buys 32 SCBA's and they sit on the shelf for 3 months while they use their existing equipment, which is still usable for 3 months, and we get a compressor in the 2027 budget, or we give them approval to buy it on the 2027 budget 2 months in advance in November, then that's what we do. That's what was discussed at budget. We're buying it this year, the SCBA's, and there's possibly a compressor coming 2027 budget.
Could I ask Maggie to comment on?
So through your worship, I just wanted to, I just opened up my budget book here, and part of why the compressor in my conversations with the fire chief when we were trying to build the budget together is that there's not enough funds within our fire reserve to fund the purchase of the compressor this year. And that is primarily why it was pushed to 2027. We estimated with our current budget for 2026, the balance projected in the reserve is only $21,000. And it is estimated that the compressor will be close to $100,000. And so that is primarily why that compressor was pushed to a future year. In conversations with the fire chief, if the 566, the budget amounts that we have, if it's less If the actual tender that comes in is less than that amount, it would obviously be our recommendation for council to direct staff to go ahead with that compressor this year, but we simply don't have the funds for the compressor to be purchased in 2026. Council could direct staff, we could borrow the funds from another reserve and repay it with interest, but there isn't funds within the fire reserves to buy that compressor this year.
Thank you for that clarification. Councillor Harris?
Yes, thank you, Maggie. And that just brings up the topic of tonight's discussion of the availability of a grant. So that 566.9 could actually, that is slated for this year's budget, could actually potentially be put towards a compressor this year, possibly.
what she said.
Correct. Yeah, like if because right now the full 566 is being funded fully from the reserve. So if that grant fund is used, then that opens up $69,000 in the reserve that could be utilized for the compressor.
Yeah, it's 31, Maggie, because we just took out the trailer part. Just you're a math person, so it's the only reason I said that to you. The rest I wouldn't worry about. But anyway, okay, the bottom line is good discussion we've had. We're gonna definitely the compressor, if we can get that sooner, we're gonna work. Every counselor is heard the argument. But right at the moment, let's we're asked for some the next report, if it can be a little tighter, but we're still marching forward to get these 32, it looks like, is what is recommended. So we made a motion for information. We gave some thoughts is going to help ease our minds a little bit. Are we satisfied? Because the motion has been moved, correct? Are we prepared to, and once if the motion carries, then we move on to the next subject? Are we okay? All right, I'm gonna call the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, sir, for your time. Got some ideas and we're working with you, okay? All right. Okay, corporate services. 6.71. Go ahead.
Sure. So through you, your worship, to council, this report is just in response to a request that we start leaving our live streams of our council meetings up on YouTube. So I am just looking for council direction and for clarification, where it says a period of time determined by the clerk. Some I just thought I'd get ahead of that. It has just to do with retention. The official record of the meeting is the council minutes, but these are records. A lot of municipalities do 2 years or for the term of council. So once I decide what that is, I'll update the retention bylaw and go from there.
I think the CAO should make the decision. Okay, on the motion.
That was my only.
Councillor Bailey, are you prepared to move the motion?
Yeah, I'll move
You're the
motion.
techie here, so okay, very good. And the other techie seconds it. Councillor Whetstone. Any further comments? Understand where she's gonna come back with some flexibility here on the timelines. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Interim drainage superintendent. The recommendation bylaw, we all understand why we're just in that in between of getting someone hired. You move the motion, Councillor Walden, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Councillors' announcements. Any councillors' announcements this evening? Okay, that's just, go ahead, sir.
And it's just behalf on a new business in Hensel. It was, and I wasn't even asked to do it, but I just feel obligated. It's called the Hensel House. Took over, it was once Kipper's or Brian's Service Center, and then Totec Trailers was there. It's right on the highway. And she has 2 businesses in that building. She does her aesthetics and nails and whatever the girls do. And she also takes in people's, I want to say crafts, candles, their side business. They can bring it in on consignment. She will sell it for them and take a small piece of it. And it's all local products, so if you haven't stopped in and have a look.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? I'm gonna move there to new business. We do have new business, 8.1, and notice of motion submitted by Counselor Harris. Counselor Harris, do you have a seconder? Yes, you do. Counselor Groot? It's written here, to your motion then. Speak to it and we'll see where it goes.
I will ask the clerk, do I need to read the motion again, or is it quite clear?
Sure, it's presented on the screen there for everybody if,
Okay.
unless anybody needs a refresher.
I will just speak to it. The purpose of this motion, essentially was to alleviate a business owner in town, the, I don't want to say headache, the, inconvenience of, customers dropping off vehicles, after hours and bylaw officers ticketing them for being on the side of the road. I don't want to get into it until actually staff bring back their report.
Yeah.
But there was, Dave and I have spoken of lots of different options, and there's a few actually there's two that I thought were really good. And when this report comes back, council can make their decision. But the one that I'm thinking of could benefit other businesses in Blue Water for either temporary or yearly or monthly exemptions, depending on what they want to do. So I look forward to the report that Dave brings back, and I'll be working with him on it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, it's a lot like the one we had a little earlier. I think we need, I'll support the motion, and then we see the report and we will look at it when there's more detail there. But I think the concept is worth looking at. Is there anyone else want to comment? If not, I'm going to call the motion. Okay, all those in favor of this motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, and look forward to working with Dave and whatever on this. All right, we're at number 9, confirmatory bylaw. Anyone prepared to make the confirmatory bylaw? Counselor Bailey, Counselor Lamport, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We're at adjournment. Are we prepared to adjourn this evening first meeting? Okay, Counselor Walden and Deputy Mayor, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to thank staff, those that took the time to come out physically to see this meeting, those on Zoom. I hope your year is starting off well, and we look forward to seeing you at the next